How's everyone doing? Brian Ponder, Brian the Credit Lawyer. So today I want to do a quick video about a question I got today. I was speaking to someone who is attempting to take care of some debt collections on their credit report. So the question that came in was, should I just send in a verification letter? And the answer to that is not a simple one. So a lot of people are being advised, oh, well, you have a debt collection. What you should do is send a verification letter. Well, first of all, let's talk about what a verification letter is, when you should use it, why you should use it. So a verification letter is a letter sent to debt collectors to verify a debt. Now, under the FDCPA, which stands for Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, this letter is pursuant to Section 1692G of that act. And basically, the act says within 30 days of receiving the initial contact from a debt collector, you have the right to get verification of that debt. Now, what does verification mean? Well, a conservative look and read of that law says that the debt collector has to let you know the name and address of that original creditor for the debt they're trying to collect. Many sources on the internet will say that you can list a whole lot of things for them to send you, and that's verification. That's not necessarily true, okay? So just understand that verification under a conservative or just a, you know, as written read says that that debt collector has to give you the name and address, basically the contact information for the original creditor. The verification law is very important and powerful because the debt collector has to stop collection efforts until they mail you that information. So, what does collecting mean? Calling you. They can't call you. They can't send you letters trying to collect a bill. And some case law says that credit reporting is debt collection. So, technically, if it's not on your credit, they should not be putting it on your credit during that time period. Now, there's another twist to verification. If you request verification, that debt collector does not have to provide it. So that debt collector could get that verification letter and just stop collecting the debt and just abandon it, right? They could not report it to your credit. They could just go away. So that's permissible. A debt collector can do that. Um, let's see. In addition to that, they could respond, give you the name, address of the debt collector, and not give you anything else that you asked for. So that would be compliant. Um, Additionally, again, your right of verification has to be within the first 30 days of their initial contact with you. So if you saw something in your credit a year ago and now you're coming to my channel and you're figuring out that you have the right to dispute stuff, your verification letter does not have to be honored at that at that time period, over a month after the initial contact. So say if you got a letter a year ago from this debt collector and threw it in the trash, well, they don't have to honor your verification. Okay, so you know legally this stuff gets a little complex. It's not an easy question. So when someone so the question of should I just send a verification letter, as with a lot of issues, it depends. Now, do I recommend seeking verification in whatever letter you're sending? Yes, even if you're outside that time period. Because it's outside the time period doesn't mean you should not ask. However, you just have to understand that by law, if it's outside the 30-day time period, you may not get a verification. I've seen some debt collectors respond by saying, They don't have to verify. It's beyond the time period in which they're obligated to. So, however, to the question that the person posed to me today about should they just send a verification letter, I pretty much warned them that just even if you're within the 30 days, just seeking verification of the debt is not enough. It's like asking someone that's hitting you, why are you hitting me? I don't, you may care why they're hitting you, but the first thing I'm going to tell you to do is stop. Stop hitting me. Same thing with debt collection. You don't want to just ask them why they're collecting against you or who they're collecting on behalf of. You want to tell them to stop. So whatever in your letter, you want to have a multifaceted, a multi-pronged approach to this stuff. Why? You want to be as efficient as possible. So when you're dealing with a debt collector, in your letter, you want to tell them what you want them to do. First of all, you want to take a position. If you believe they're violating your rights, let them know that that's your position. Specifically, they're likely violating the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act to start. If you want to tell them why, I recommend you do. For example, if they're collecting a debt that you don't owe, let them know that you do not owe this amount to them or their client, whoever that is. Okay, so you're taking a position. That's what you should do. Let them know that you believe they're violating your rights. I would be very general with respect to what rights they're violating. So if you think they're collecting the debt in violation of the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, the FDCPA, just say that. Next, let them know at that point that you dispute it. Now, disputing a debt is different from verification. Verification is just asking them to provide you the information of who they're collecting for, the name and contact information. Disputing the debt is a completely different assertion. That just means that you don't agree with it. So you may not agree with it for several reasons. You may don't think you owe it at all. You may not think you owe that exact amount. Maybe they're asking for more. If they are asking for more, I would again be very careful not to acknowledge the debt. Don't say I owe your client $100, not $110. If I were you, I would take a position. I do not owe you or your client $110. Don't fill in the blanks for them and say I owe $100 because that's acknowledging the debt, which works against you. So if they're collecting an unlawful amount, take the position that you do not owe that unlawful amount to them or their client. Okay? Does that make sense? And there's nothing wrong with you putting it that way. That's completely truthful. You don't owe that amount. Okay? Do not give them anything that works against you. But you should also be very truthful and accurate in what you put in writing. You're not sending an affidavit. This is not a police report, nor is it sworn under penalty of perjury. But you don't want to document anything that's untruthful. So scrutinize what's going on and use what works in your favor and against the debt collector. All right. So two, again, you want to tell them what they did wrong. The next to last part of the letter would be your demand. Give them an out. Let them know if they stop. Let them know that their violation can be cured if they do something for you. And what you want them to do ultimately is to delete the debt from your credit report if it's reporting. If it's not reporting, I would just say that they have to promise not to report it and stop collecting on it. Okay? Those are the two things that I recommend you ask for. A lot of people, you may read or look and it may say, don't sell the debt or don't do this, don't do that. I would not take it that far. If they're silly enough to repackage that debt and sell it to another debt collector, so be it. You may decide to tell them that, but I wouldn't go that far. I would just keep it honed in on the issue with them. letting them know that they can't collect it, and that you want them to delete any credit reporting or promise not to uh, provide or furnish any credit information regarding it. Okay, so that's your demand. Tell them, look, this is what I want you to do to fix this. Now, let them know that, look, give them a time period. Fix it by this date. Now, if they don't fix it, then let them know what you intend to do. If you intend to sue them, say that you intend to sue them. If you intend to turn it over to your lawyer or let a lawyer review it, say that. If you intend to report them to the FTC or CFPB, say that. But give them a warning. Let them know what you intend to do. Again, intending to do something and promising is two different things. So if you intend to or may, a word you can use is may, because you don't want to make threats that you don't intend to keep. But if you say what you may do, that doesn't mean you have to do it. Again, we're just trying to keep some integrity about what you're saying, because if something comes up again, you want them to understand that what you wrote is what you meant. So give them an idea of what you will do if you don't do what you're asking them to. Now, if they do what you're asking them to, let them know that you won't do anything to them. So it has to be something in it for them. So they're afraid of breaking the law. A lot of times these debt collectors get limited information from their client. So they may take your offer to avoid violating the law. And so what that means is give them something for them following your demand. For example, let them know that you won't pursue this claim against them under the FDCPA if they follow your command, your demand, which is a command. And so put that, spell that out. Give them a time period to comply, or else. And additionally, I recommend, if you did ask for a verification in this letter, which you should, again, even if it's outside the time period, let them know that they can that you forego that verification if they comply with your demand. That way, they don't have to go through the steps of doing that extra work of trying to get that verification information, which they should have, but again, they won't have to go through the cost and expense of providing that to you. Because if they follow your command, they have written documentation that you that you voluntarily forgoed your rights with respect to verification in exchange for them complying with your demand. So at that point, wrap your letter up and send it to them. But that's the anatomy, I would say, of a verification dispute to debt collectors. So, to that person, I would, to the question, should I just send a verification? I think my straightforward answer is no. It should not just be a verification. With a verification, you should have a dispute and a demand. Any questions? Like I said, some of these things can get a little complex, but any questions, feel free to contact me. My email will be in the comments, well, not in the comments section, but in the description. You can always email or go to my website, brianponder.com, if you have any specific questions that you would like to talk about. You can contact me there or schedule a consultation. Again, hope that helps, and feel free to comment. Thank you.